Hey guys, Pete here. Yes, I'm back with the milk. I just want to preface this by saying this is going to be a laid back, me talking over some background footage type of video. So kick back, relax, grab some popcorn, and enjoy. Arcane Odyssey has been out for 1 year and 11 months, and I figured I'd return and evaluate how the game plays today in contrast to how it played on release to show how far the game has come. Yes, I know the title says 2 years. No, I'm not clickbaiting. Let me explain. As of recording this, the last major update the game received was the Empires update in late September, and the next slated major update is the full release update. However, upon releasing the Empires update, VTech stated that the full release update will most likely take 7 months or longer to complete. Doing the math and adding 7 months to late September would result in a late April release at the earliest, and I wouldn't be shocked if it took longer knowing the track record of updates this game gets and VTech's quality standards. So, realistically, this current version of the game will be the same version we will be playing at the 2-year anniversary mark, barring any game-breaking bugs and balance changes. Anyways, let's get into it. So, to compare the game from 2 years ago to today, we must set the stage of what the game played like on launch, and go over every major update it received in order. However, I will not be going over any metas in terms of classes and stats, as that more impacts PvP and not core game features or PvE play. First off, on release, most of the Bronze Sea was available, including all of its main story content. The max level was 125, and a lot of quote-unquote endgame gear that we use today wasn't in the game, on top of a lot of features such as jewel crafting too. The story was also plagued with egregious level requirements, albeit some quests were repeatable, so a lot of people at the time just did bandit beating quests until they were of level to continue. The first major update that Arcane Odyssey got was the Underwater update. This update introduced the Easter event and the brewing mechanic, which added the first potion to the game, the water breathing potion. It also added diving spots and underwater structures, as well as making sharks and whirlpools spawn more often to add a risk factor to the reward that underwater structures provided. In overall size, this was a smaller update, but it still provided a new way to obtain loot and showed off the potential of the brewing mechanic. The next update was also not the biggest, but it added the rest of the potions and potion types to the game, allowing people to finally fix the mistakes they made when they allocated their stat points on the game's release, as well as the jewel crafting mechanic. Both of these mechanics are still heavily used today and gave a purpose to all the random items and gems players had been accumulating throughout the first couple of months of the game, as well as adding more items to be used in said mechanics, adding even more variety on what you can make. This update also revamped Palo Town and added Blasted Rock and Cassia Bay, the first islands to be added to the Bronze Sea. This update also toned down the shark spawning while adding blue whales and sperm whales to the mix, which are not buggy at all. If the past 2 updates were small, then this update in comparison was massive. Yes, it's time for the Dark Sea update, my favorite update so far. The Dark Sea is polluted with magic to the point where the weather is hectic and it's hard to see any islands until you're close to them. To compensate for the challenge that is the Dark Sea, a new ship, the Brig, was added to the game for a cheap cost of 20,000 galleons, by having the trade-off of better stats and pretty much everything you will ever need, from a cooking pot, even a bounty board included on the ship. Siege weapons were also added as an exclusive weapon for brigs to add to its already deadly potential too. But the meat and potatoes of the update was the Dark Sea itself, introducing more reagents to the game, the Insanity stat, which can roll on Atlantean gear, a new modifier for gear that could be dropped from Atlantean enemies or applied with a new Atlantean essence item, and the Warning stat to counteract Insanity, which could roll on gear or applied with an enchant. You would need the Warning stat as well for later levels of the Dark Sea, where you progressively got more Insanity stacks, albeit you got significantly more Dark Sealed chests from Atlantean ships, Dark Sea islands, and Siren islands the further you went in. Speaking of Dark Sealed chests, these sealed chests were significantly better than bronze sealed chests, as they dropped newer and better gear, exotic gems, better ship parts, new rare spell and technique scrolls, and tier 2 enchant scrolls, which either applied multiple stats or a higher amount of one stat to a piece of gear, which made our builds even stronger. All in all, this update was incredible for the game, as the sandbox that is the Dark Sea added replayability and a larger sense of danger, while rewarding players heavily for returning safely. This next update was stated by VTEX to have been intended to be released in the Dark Sea update, but was delayed, which would have made the Dark Sea update even more ludicrous in size. This smaller update added more biome and structure types to the Dark Sea islands, making the Dark Sea sandbox less repetitive. This update also added the Sunken Warrior set and Sunken Staff, which provided attack speed instead of size, in contrast to the Sunken Iron set. This update also overhauled deckhands, making it so you no longer needed obscene amounts of rep to recruit them, while making it simpler to level and upgrade them, as well as giving them professions for even more bonuses. The biggest part of this update, however, was the new gear modifiers. This update added the Frozen, Archaic, Sandy, Superheated, Drowned, Blasted, and Crystalline modifiers that each provided different stat bonuses to gear, and each had a chance to drop on an item from different sources, which further progressed how strong our characters got. On top of this, treasure charts were now able to be obtained by lower level players, and shipwrights started selling lower level ship parts to make it easier to upgrade your ship. A couple of minor details were also added, like players accumulating dirt or getting a tan, or sunken items dropping from underwater chests. Overall, this small update had a big impact on the game and added more build variety. The next major update was the Nimbus Sea update. This update finally progressed the main story, albeit a little bit. It added the Nimbus Sea, which only had the Force of Mass, Samaria, Shell Reef, Draco's Arch, and Claw Island destinations. This update finally increased the level cap to 136, added the Captain Maria boss, as well as Nimbus sealed chests, which dropped more ship parts. Sumerian ice and golden food were added too, which added more variety to cooking in terms of ingredients and effects. This was also the update that finally removed the level requirements from the Bronze Sea main story and instead added tutorial quests for cooking, brewing, and jewel crafting, while also making any repeatable side quest no longer repeatable. This update seems more like a quality of life update that was intended to set up future updates. The next update added was the Mistral update. This update added even more features, like finally making Vitality builds a little bit better, specifically Knight, Sailorfish Juggernauts, and Water Paladins. Vitality builds finally gave a reason to save or kill Elias, a purely cosmetic reason. That's right, we finally got the first spirit weapon that only had one skill and a lightning synergy imbuement on your magic, fighting style, or weapons, which added a different effect based on whether you are merciful or merciless. This update also added Port Mistral and continued the main story there, which increased the level cap to 140, albeit it was more so set up for future story beats. We also saw the additions of Kirak ships in the Nimbus Sea, even more new items, better lighting visuals, and most importantly, the Warden class rebranded to the Oracle class. Just kidding. The most important addition was weapon customization, which allowed you to take skills off weapons and put them on other weapons that were compatible with those skills, giving a reason to run higher quality weapons for more skill slots at the trade-off of a higher weapon level requirement to use them. This also added your last name to your modified weapons, making them feel more personal. This update had weapon-based classes eating, specifically the hybrid classes like Conjurer and Warlord, due to them being able to use third-tier weapon abilities on average quality weapons, such as Sparrow Thrust if they were to go 160 weapons. Finally, we have the most recent update, the Empires update. This update added Macronaus, Shield Guard, and Tidecliff Isle to the Nimbus Sea, while adding Irakos, Blackreach Island, Cedar Arch, Gloam Ruins, Thrylos Crossing, and Fort Castrum to the Bronze Sea. We also got even more rare spells and techniques included. The clan banks were converted into treasuries that could be withdrawn from, and clans can now force attacks on their members. That would all contribute to building on claimed islands. Also, high-ranking Grand Navy and Assassin Syndicate members gained the ability to create a sub-clan affiliated with their respective factions. We also got more Dark Sea armor sets and Lost armor sets that drop from treasure charts. This was also the update that reworked the luck effect and allowed underwater structures to spawn deeper, rewarding daring players who went down to them with the gear that had the abyssal modifier, which provided resistance to the gear it dropped on. This update also reworked the intensity stat to change whatever it did before and instead make it simply lower ability cooldowns. What an upgrade. We also saw the introduction of Hecate Essence to the far reaches of the Dark Sea, which allowed players to change one of their magics to a different magic of their choosing, forgetting all of their spells in the process. Finally, the last thing we saw in this update was the addition of Rear Admiral Amelia, Architect Calliste, General Valeri, and Evander. This update was more clan focused, however, it still added some quality of life improvements for all players. Also, on another note, in the 2024 Halloween event, the auction was added, which is an in-game marketplace that players can sell and buy items from. Other than that, the Halloween and Christmas updates were pretty pointless. With all that said, it is safe to say the game is on the verge of being in a full release state, and it feels more fleshed out feature-wise now than 2 years ago. But how does that impact the experience of playing from a new save? Well, I decided to start up a new slot as a magma conjurer and experience not only the story with the added content, but interact with all the new features in some shape or form. In my experience, the game played really well, and the quality of life features, as well as the new gear, stats, modifiers, and gem crafting, added more layers to build crafting. And all the new content in terms of story, underwater structures, new skills and abilities, and most importantly, the Dark Sea, expanded on the early access release of the game and gave me more to do and resulted in me feeling less bored and made me feel like I always had something to do and or grind for. However, I did have some complaints about the game still. My main gripe with the game is all the bugs I encountered and the auction system. Some of the bugs felt like they should have been patched forever ago, like the infinite swim glitch that got me banned when filming the hardest challenge video, part 2, as well as some other encounters that made me question how the testers missed these bugs. That felt a little off to me, as I can get banned for using some of these bugs, and at least the moderators know of these bugs since they can punish you for using them, which they will, instead of getting these bugs patched. And then the auction system to me more so felt like an item trade value appraiser. I'd either simply load up the auction, see how much an item is worth in galleons, and find items of similar value to either trade for or sell my item and buy off the auction. Or I just bought a bunch of gems, catalysts, and reagents off of it and maxed out the jewel crafting and brewing skills. It completely felt like a substitute for trading instead of a supplement to it, and demotivated me to grind items and instead just grind money and buy stuff from the auction. In the end, VTEX and crew have put a lot of time and effort into fleshing out Arcane Odyssey from a game mainly focused on getting a good build and leveling all your character's skills and chip into an extremely detailed game with numerous ways to play and things to do. However, some bugs remain from release and some features need more refinement and fleshing out to match the quality of other aspects of the game. Hey, thanks for watching and listening along to this video, if you're still here. I tried to cover every big change that was made to the game and mostly followed the wiki and the patch notes that VTEX posted. The wiki update page and VTEX's dev page will both be posted in the description, and I encourage you to go check those out as updates and patch notes are well documented there. I also wanted to shine a light on how the game felt from the start after all of these changes, and I understand the game is not finished and some bugs will occur and some bugs won't be patched, so the developers can focus on adding more quality content to the game instead of wasting energy on a glitch that allows you to swim slowly forever. Speaking of bugs, enjoy some of these clips. Fuck? What the f- I think it's a Roblox issue though.
Maybe.
This boss will just randomly chunk me for it, and it's annoying. Why is he just walking on air? What is this? Oh, I'll attack this. I'll attack this. Oh yeah, that's easy. What? What happened there? Whoa. Not again! Not again! No! 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 What the hell? Seriously. What is going on with my camera now? Why does it look like this? What the hell? The hell was that? Is this guy broken? Blood is just gonna sit here and take it like a good boy. Very much intended. Okay, that was easy.
What the hell?
Okay, stopped. What just happened? Yeah, I'm stuck in the air. I have a good view of the Bronze Sea, though. What is this? I think this game's just broken. Is it merely the game just like I can't do any inputs. Switching my weapons and stuff. He's just sitting here, like shirtless. No, he's legitimately just sitting there on top of the statue, like. What a snipe. They just left the chest here. Oh well. Excuse me. Excuse me. What am I witnessing? It's just flying away. Alright, that's all for this video. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment, as I want the algorithm to bless me, and I need the engagement. Thank you, and see you next time.